What is good stuff, family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down some very important information about CPI that's coming out for tomorrow, what data just came out today that helped the market pump a bit, and also what's going on with Tesla and some important levels to watch for. Now, just to remind you guys, this is your last chance to secure profits on those options before CPI comes out. We have one more hour left for the trading day about, and you have to be very careful because tomorrow, before the market opens, CPI is going to come out and the market may make a very big move to the upside or the downside, depending on what the number is. So I'm just warning everyone, you have a big opportunity right now, and I want you guys to be prepared. Before I break anything down about all this information, and before I talk about the charts and give you guys an intraday update, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Put in $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks plus a $100 cash reward. Anyways, let's talk about the markets. What on earth is going on? So when it comes to SPY, just to start us off, what I told you guys in the morning was we have to watch for confirmation. I did not give you guys a very confident prediction because I didn't know what the data would be, what the data would tell us. And for that reason, I just remained very, very cautious and then told you guys to watch for confirmation. And what do I mean by that? Well, on the 5-minute time frame, I told you if we broke below the 50 EMA and we broke this major support right here, we would likely see SPY come all the way down to fill this gap. And if that failed us, it would come even lower to where the 200 is and then even lower levels than that for other support zones I talked about. And then I told you that if we held above this 50 EMA and we got a nice bounce and the market continued to uptrend and the data was positive, the data I'm about to break down in just a few minutes, the market would likely try to push up back to this resistance zone right here. And if we broke this resistance, we could even push closer to where 432.5 is to potentially even 433. For now, we are getting stopped out at this resistance, so I'm going to break that down in just a couple of minutes. But what was this data? Why did the market respond the way it did? What happened at 11 a.m.? And I was warning you guys about this yesterday. So the data came out. It was the Consumer Inflationary Expectations Report. Now, you may think, what's the big deal? Who cares about this? Well, the market did care. The market got a reaction after 11 o'clock a.m. In actuality, it was 4.1% versus the forecast of 4.2%, according to this resource. But if we look at what Zero Hedge reported, the New York Fed said that the one-year inflationary expectation fell to 4.1% versus 4.5%. So depending on your source, the expectations were different, but it's still showing a lowered expectation for the one-year inflationary reports. The New York Fed also reported that for the 3-year inflationary report, expectations rose to 3% versus 2.9%. So a slight rise for the longer term. For the short term, a decrease in expectations. So this is good because when people expect less inflation, this is a positive amount of sentiment for the markets. The market responded very positively to this, and the market started to pump as a result, but it happened in a very delayed manner. Now, what happened to SPY was this. It basically started off very, very slow and very flat, very choppy, not really doing anything. And then here's what happened. As we approached 11 o'clock Eastern time, 11 o'clock a.m., market, saw the data, got a tiny little pump, and then just continued to trade sideways for some time, but then started uptrending, and then it started to push and push and push. This push really started around 11:15, and then it just started uptrending, getting all the way up to closer to 432, almost 432, so it came just below, and so far we're still looking quite nice. But even though this is awesome, even though it's great to see the market pump like this, I must warn everyone that tomorrow, I have it right here, tomorrow, 1 hour before the market opens, we have CPI coming out, and this is going to be one of your last opportunities to sell those options for profits, to get out of those positions if you want, because we don't know what CPI is going to cost. The odds are favoring, in my opinion, looking at the expectations, looking at the charts for more upside, but it's not a guarantee because technicals are not everything. And let me explain. So if you look at the charts, like on SPY, for example, the daily looks very bullish. There's no confirmation of this thing dropping. The daily still looks very bullish. That does not guarantee anything because it could always get a rug pull because of CPI. But we'll just have to wait and see. Okay? The weekly, it looks bullish technically. There's no sign of weakness on the weekly. The monthly looks very bullish. We're about to get a bullish crossover on the PPO. But even though the technicals are saying this, technicals are not everything. You must know this. Technicals are not everything. You can't solely depend on them. You have to look at the data too. And I want to add that for SPY, technically, if you're willing to take the risk, if it does get a very low CPI in the Fed pause, like I said in my previous videos, the next major resistance zone is going to be between 440 to 442, and for SPX it's basically the same thing. 4420 on SPX. This could help a lot of stocks also pump more. The market could rally very hard, but it's not a guarantee. We don't know for sure until we see the data. But anyways, what does this mean for current positioning? What does this mean for the market? Well, I personally cannot give you financial advice, but I was basically shorting the market right here. I started shorting the market, seeing this potential decline, seeing how weak the candles were looking. This was a pretty okay short, not the strongest that I've had. I closed it pretty flat ultimately. And then I witnessed this inverse head and shoulders pattern. I realized this was happening. We were holding very, very nicely. We didn't get any clean breaks to the downside, very like false breakouts, and that's about it. And for that reason, I loaded up on calls, and that ended up working out very well. And then I ended up just securing all profits, not all profits, most profits, but I'm holding some positions overnight because I'm willing to take the risk. But I know, okay, I secured most profits. My position is now very small that remains. I'm going to hold it through the night, only knowing that I could lose tons of money on it. I could lose, not tons of money, just some money. I could lose a little bit of money on it, right? I'm willing to take the risk, and you have to be willing to take those risks if you want to hold anything overnight. But I'm also going to try hedging at least some positions, just a little bit here and there. It's a very small position for me, but for other people, it's important to always hedge if you want to, or just take the risk if you need to. It's really your choice. Honestly, guys, but I just want to warn you that if you don't want to risk too much money on a particular position, if you don't want to, then it's always important to know what the risk is, and it's always important to be careful. Now, as far as SPY goes, okay, 432 is holding. All right, we're getting very close to testing it again, and it's so far holding SPY down. If we manage to break this, I mean, like I said before, you're going to be watching these psychological levels. 432.5 with some resistance, not very strong, but then 433 is going to be the next major resistance in the 433 zone. If it comes down, we're going to be watching for the 50 EMA as support, this 431.49 area around this zone, and it could come lower to where the 431.25 area is. But for now, it's holding up nicely, still looking quite nice. We're just going to have to wait and see. But like I said before, I'm not really going to be watching this for too much longer. I don't really have too many positions left. I'm going to just step away for a few minutes after this video is out. Tesla is hitting the resistance I was talking about, very close to this 250 resistance. You could see this is what stopped Tesla out. And I warned you guys, Tesla had this gap down here. We could see Tesla come down to fill it if we got a break below the 50. We just temporarily came down and bounced right back up above it. We didn't truly break the 50. We just held above it for the majority of the day. And if anything, Tesla's still holding up quite nicely after the bullish news I talked about in the morning. I did not give you guys a Tesla prediction, though. I did not make any prediction on it. I just told you about the bullish and bearish cases because I was not certain about what the data would tell us. And for that reason, I always manage risks when positioning. Now, when it comes to Tesla, when I talk about like securing profits, that does not mean I'm selling Tesla shares. I know a lot of people in the comments have said that. That is not the truth, actually. I have a long-term position of Tesla shares. I'm holding them, for a long time. I'm not going to exit them unless something like horrendous happens, which I don't think is going to happen to that extent. When I talk about securing profits, I'm referring to options. When you're trading, because holding, short-term options for too long is too risky, and I like to just trade as another side income. It's very important to know that, and it's very important that we are aware of the risks. And now just know that if Tesla turns bullish after the CPI, it has an increased probability of breaking 250 and making its way all the way up to the mid to high 250s, if not 260, over the next couple of days. But that's also going to depend on the FOMC meeting. If Tesla comes down, you're going to be watching our 50 EMA, which is closer to 248. If that fails us, there's 247.5. Then we're going to be watching 245.95. And after that comes the zone I talked about previously, which is 244.5. That's exactly where Tesla's low was since it opened. That was exactly where it was. 244.5. Then after that, we have 242.7 around that zone. But anyways, it's basically, holding up nicely. It's not going to tank very hard by the time we close, most likely. Still holding up. Just watch resistance around this 250 zone and just know it's risky to hold options overnight, and you have to be willing to take that risk if you are going to hold anything. It's also important to hedge if you are willing to do that. But if you don't want to hedge and you just want to take the risk, that's up to you. I don't always trade that way. And on top of that, just know that this is your last chance to secure profits on those options. So I just want to inform you, please be ready for that. For the QQQ, it broke the resistance. I told you two possibilities on the QQQ. If it broke below the 50 EMA, we'd see this thing fill the gap all the way down here, closer to where the 200 EMA happens to be. But it actually held above the 50 EMA. And then I told you the bullish case would be it holding above 356. If it held, we could see this thing get closer to 357.5. That's where it rejected for about a couple of hours before getting a break above it. And now it's slowly uptrending and continuing to get higher and higher. So it's getting very close to 359. The next major resistance, so there could be some resistance on the way up, but the next really strong resistance is going to be closer to 360. For now, it's holding up. Like I said before, it's still uptrending, still pushing, still pumping. Market is still strong, but be careful, okay? There's nothing wrong with managing risks when trading. I know there's a lot of times where people think that, oh, if I just held my position for the next day, the market would have ripped anyways, right? I could have made all this money. But you have to remember that trading is not just about getting rich. It's not just about catching every opportunity, because if you try to catch every opportunity and chase, the odds will greatly favor you risking too much money and eventually taking bigger losses. Not financial advice. So what I'm doing is, like I said, I've already secured a lot of profits. I didn't secure all profits. I'm just holding some positions, but I'm willing to lose money on them. I'm willing to take the risk. Maybe not everyone's in the same position as me, so don't just copy me. And just know that tomorrow is going to be risky. If CPI is hot unexpectedly, the market's going to get a rug pull. If it's a decent CPI, the market could keep going, and that's going to incentivize the Fed to pause. So be ready, know the risk, and do what you have to do. As far as Apple goes, it's holding up. It actually broke the level I talked about, this 182.71 level, getting very, very close now to 183. Break that, and once again, it has more room to go up. NVIDIA is holding up. It's just trading sideways, not doing much, but it is a little bit green. Amazon's kind of green. Meta is green. Market is green for the most part, holding up nicely. So let's just get ready for what's about to come. SPY just broke 432 at the time I'm recording, so it's looking good. Like I said, do what you have to do, and don't let this fool you though into like taking too many big risks. Just be careful. The market looks strong, yes. It may be fun to hold some positions. I'm actually holding just a couple of them, but I'm willing to lose on them just in case. And just know that this is all important. All right. So anyways, thank you all for listening. Have a great day. Get ready for the big move for tomorrow, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright, and peace out.